Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of League of Inches podcast, Supercoach edition, Wednesday night for us. Very, very keen to rip into this one after a huge weekend of massive scores, a weekend where it basically just consisted of whether you captain Pappy or not. Luckily, one person on this podcast did, and unluckily, one person on this podcast hasn't. And the third thing is the person that isn't on this podcast at the moment is too ashamed that he got annihilated by one of us on the podcast, and he doesn't even want to show his face this weekend, or this week. So shout out to you, Jesse. He just didn't want to be a man about it, basically, and just admit to the greatness that he got beat by. But look, it is what it is. It is what it is. We will get to that one very, very shortly. Again, shout out to Freedom Finance out there sponsoring the Supercoach podcast. Make sure you go out, please reach out to them. Go slide into the Freedom Finance DMs. Go reach out to Con and his team. Slide in just like Latrell did over the weekend against a horrible Broncos defensive line who gave up with seconds to go. That's something that Con and his team will not do. They will always do their best to beat your home loan. That is for sure get you a better rate. Let's rip into it, Trav.
And also not just a better rate, mate, but just a little bit of cash in your pocket too with a bit of cash back offer. Don't forget that.
The cashback offer as well. There's just so many reasons to give him a call. He's a very, very good bloke, very good team behind him as well. They literally just want to help you out. So no cashes to it. Let them know that we sent you, the League of Inches boys sent you over as well, and they will look after you. Huge week, Trav. Huge week. Let's just rip straight into it. Let's talk about how we both went. Go to you first. Let you say something. Let you talk.
Let the crap first, hey?
I didn't say that.
But that's what you're implying. I actually scored pretty good. I went through this round. I was watching it. I said Saturday morning, I had Jesse and a few others message me going, Trav's in for a big score. I'm like, yeah, it's really dependent on my captain, who I captain and how that goes. And I was sitting very pretty. I finished with, before I say that, I captained Cleary. I'm stoked with my trade-ins. I brought Nickera and Best in. Pretty happy with that. Like Best got a 58, and Nickera got 70 odd. What did he get? Nickera got 76, and Best got 51. Sorry, so like I'm pretty happy with that. Plus, the buy coverage of where I'm at. My team's set up. I was like, yep, sweet. I'm going to this round, going really well. Cleary plays Saturday night. Captain him, thinking, yep, I want a piece of that horrible Cowboys defense and the offensive weapons that the Penrith have got. And they scored. They certainly did. 30 odd points. Like that's a good game. Talangi got all the score. And it was just Talangi's week. And so Cleary's score didn't go. So I ended up, and then I sat there on Sunday watching all of you people who've got Pappenhausen, me as well, who captained him, and I didn't, and I'm sitting there hiding behind the couch going, oh, no, there's a try. Scores a try in the first couple of minutes, and literally scores another one, and then got another one before halftime. And I'm like, oh, bloody hell. Yeah, righto. And then he gets one, I think, because did he get 4? He got 4 tries, or was it? Yeah. Got 4 tries and like 36 points for the game, like literally 36 points of the 64. The Storm kicked 64 or score 64 points, held the Tigers to 0. And I was like, yep, it's literally going to be, if you've captained Pappenhausen, you've got a monster score. And if you haven't, you're going to be okay. I got 1504. Every week, I'd take 1504. If I could get 1500 every single week, I'd win the competition. I'm stoked with that. But nope, I dropped 581 spots, back out to 15,543.
Tough week. Tough week.
Mate, everything worked out for me. Everyone scored well. Starling at the hooker. All my reserves scored a well over 50. Hey, I even had 182 in my reserves with Pappenhausen. Like everything just went well, except I've got Ponga. So the 33 from Ponga hurt, and yeah, the Cleary captain. But such is Supercoach.
It's a funny game. Any other week, 1,500 would see you gaining several
Thousands.
positions going up the ladder, and unfortunately, it's a week where that just was not enough. Look, won't sugarcoat it. Pretty wrapped with my week. I got a lot of really good plays. I think I looked at it before. My lowest score of the week as well was like over 50. Like that was my lowest score. My score that dropped out, I think, was like a 51 or something, which is ridiculous over. Like it just consistency all around was key for me. Obviously, Pappy was the big one I got right, and I was on Pappy almost from the get-go last week when I did my team change. As I said last week, that was my captaincy choice. Didn't change it at once. Didn't get tempted to go elsewhere. So set on the Storm on the Sunday on the bounce-back game. I felt sorry for the Tigers in a way because they're always onto a hiding for nothing. And luckily, it wasn't shared around to the back line too much. It was all the Paps. I was all for that. And even Munster went in and chimed in and got a nice little points, a bag of points as well. So I got 1,684 points, top 1% score over the weekend, which I was wrapped with. I was at the start of that week about 9,200 around there. So I've gone up 4,100 spots up to 5,174. So huge climb there. Obviously, like you said, Joe, there was a fair few other big scores around. I didn't win all my head-to-heads, actually. I lost one head-to-head by 2 points.
Really?
So there was a guy that beat me in one of the other comps, and I looked at that comp, and apart from us two, the next highest score was like a early 1,500. So I was spewing. That's just the light. Any other person I beat, there was a few where in the head-to-heads, I beat them by like a points differential of almost 400. Like it was an annihilation in the end. But just one of those weeks. We have them all. We all have had turns, I feel like, so far this year. We're having a big score, and luckily enough, it was my turn this week. I think
live in the moment. That was a monster score. You really deserve it. Everything worked out well, and yeah, well done.
Got it done overall. So I think my total score at the moment as well is 12,906. So a little bit behind the big dogs, the leaders. To be honest, already I feel like they might be at a touching distance, but keep going. Let's see where we can get to and finish the season. Who knows? In the top three, two or so K would be a really nice achievement for me. Anyway, let's go into our comp overall. So let's have a quick look. Obviously, first of all, Jesse as well. I've completely forgotten what he got on the weekend. I did think he dropped out of the top 1K. They didn't on rank wise. So he had a bit of a slip. Did not captain Pappy either. I think he was on the Cleary captaincy train. But yeah, the big dog of the group so far had a little bit of a slip up on the weekend, which he would be filthy about. We know Jesse by now. He loves his Supercoach. He would be filthy about the fact that there were some big scores getting around. And he wasn't one of those on that. But you know what, Jesse? It's about time you give someone else a go. So just remember that one. All righty. So let's look at the League of Inches overall comp. Just hurry up and getting that up. For some reason, my instance decided to
just for everybody. Jesse got 15-17. He captained Haas, and he dropped 556 ranks to 1,122.
It wasn't the week to go safety first, captaincy-wise, was it in the end? So still a decent score from Haas. So he obviously got a decent score still, but definitely would have liked to have increased that if possible. So shout out at the moment to Chris. The C-Max 86s are still winning our overall comp at the moment. He's got a lead of 6 points to Josh Berto's Bombs. So shout out to those two that are out in front. And there's a little bit of a gap, about 70 points down to James, who is Kevin McAllister. So shout out to those. Our boy Joel slowly slipping further and further down the ladder. So Chris, by the way, another shout out to you. We're going to do every week. We're going to get one of you to finally reach out. Reach out to the page, please. We're going to put a face to the name. We want to know who's leading our comps. And this week it's you. So Chris, C-Max 86s, if you listen to the podcast, please give us a shout out, message the page. I'll organise to get you a cooler sent out thanks to the guys at TC Coolers as well. Just a little bit of a reward there. Points scored. So overall, our highest score of the weekend, goodness me, 1,768, which belonged to Penrith for the 5. So at the moment, they're a little bit off that, but who knows? They might come home strong like you just have. And that is coached by Josh. So Josh, if you're listening, that is you. You went up 21,000 spots. That is ridiculous. Please message the page to get that $10 break credit from Pack Lords, and then I'll chuck in also Cooler from TC Coolers as well. So make sure you please reach out to the page, and we will reward you, and rightly so, because that is a ridiculous score. I would be absolutely wrapped having that one. Oh, just a shout out first as well before we get into TLT stuff like that. Our draft comp as well into the final 8 now for our FA Cup style competition, Trav, which is really, really cool. I'm still in it. You are, aren't you, as well? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry, brother. We can't hear you. So.
No, yep, sorry. I was just typing into some comments for some numbers. But yes, I am still in it. We are in the top 8. Yes, you are. Every one of our matchups is, but there's actually 5 of the top 8 is from Division 1.
Wow, so that's getting into the intense side of things again, guys. Draft is 5 divisions deep this year. Who knows what next year will have intake, but I already know there's a few people that have messaged the page over the last couple of months wanting in. But it's so good. And this is our FA style Into Glory Cup that we're running throughout the year. It's now on a bit of a break to get through the origin period, things like that. We'll get back to that round 20, I believe. And very keen. It's been very, very fun. It's been fun versing all these other guys from different divisions and not knowing how everyone's going because you can't see those comps, stuff like that. Really fun addition we brought in. And again, thank you to everyone that's been part of that in our second year now of the League of Inches draft competition. TLT, let's get into it, eh? There's a fair bit of news at the moment, so plenty to talk about from a Supercoach point of view as well. So first up, and of course, here we go, perfect. So first game is the Knights versus the Eels. This is a Friday 6 p.m. game, guys, so don't forget Women's Origin is tonight. You'll be listening to this Thursday, so the women's game is on. The second game, Blues can win the series, so at Allianz Stadium there as well. So it'll be a fantastic game. Game 1 was awesome. So make sure you tune into that one, watch that, and see if the Blues can actually get that job done or Queensland can take it to a decider. For the Knights, Greg Marju ruled out with that knee injury, out for rumoured about anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks at the moment. So for mine, he's easily a sell, which we'll probably get into a bit more detail down the track as well with our trade in and outs. Fletcher Hunt will make his debut on the wing. And shout out to Dane Gagai, who plays his 300th game in the NRL on the weekend. Frizzell takes over in the front row with the loss of Leo Thompson with a head knock, which means Adam Elliott is the man to get the number 13 jersey. And Thomas Kahn has returned to the bench after a little stint in New South Wales Cup. For the Eels, Zach Lomax returns, first game since round 5, having probably one game to see if he can push his case for a Blues jersey. Anyone who was interested in obviously buying him, wait now. He's not in the buy option at all with obviously Origin and things like that. But definitely one to keep an eye on down the track. And apart from that one, obviously Charlie Geimer is out of the squad. Matty Dury comes in to take his spot in the back row, and a debut for Tony Mataeli as well, who will be coming off the bench for the Eels. Trav, any news to talk about in this one? I'll go one quick shout out, Riley Smith, who I actually brought in, and I'm very thankful for. He's done a great job since I've got him in. I think I got him in last week, last week, and because obviously I had no hookers in, and he did a great job on the weekend. I think he ended up scoring 60. So got through a mountain of work. So really happy with that purchase so far.
Yeah, 60 with a 51 in base. It was a monster game from him, and he played 80. So he's still a good buy. He's 340K. He's got a break even of 2. He's still a good buy. He was in my plans to get him last week, and I ended up thinking, no, I won't chase the money this week because I'll go and I think I'll get King Togia this week. And I've actually now completely changed that again. I'm not getting King Togia, and I'm still not getting Riley Smith, but he's still a good buy. I think though, if you wait any longer, you're going to miss out. He won't be cheap anymore. 340K is probably at that peak value you want to spend for him. Anyone else? Yeah, like you said, Zach Lomax. I think wait till Origin now, or if he doesn't get picked for Origin. But even then, if he doesn't get picked for the game 1, I think he'll play himself into game 2. So I think he's going to be thereabout. So I don't think it's worth getting him. And in terms of the Knights, we all know, we all own them, and we should own them.
Yeah.
The only one is, as you said, Greg Marju. We'll talk about him soon, but yeah, he's definitely a trade out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think he's a trade out as well. Next game up, the Bulldogs versus the Sydney Roosters. So James Salmon is set for an extended stint on the sideline after suffering that ankle injury last week. Mr. Wick got a dog shout out to you. Harry Hayes has been named in the back row with Luke Smith named on the bench to make his NRL debut. Put up a great social media piece on seeing the Dogs this afternoon, him calling his old man, and love seeing all that sort of stuff. Really gets to you. For the Roosters, back off a bye, Lindsay Collins returns in a huge boost for the Roosters. He's named on the bench just in time for Queensland as well, potentially looking at him for an Origin 1 spot on the bench. And that is all. Obviously, James Tedesco is looking to hopefully take that number 1 jersey for the Blues as well, with a huge game against probably the worst team you want to be playing when you're trying to impress to get a Blues jersey is the Bulldogs, the form they are in. But that's the task of again, light up against the Doggies. I think Laura Daly and the selectors have to just sit there and take notice of what's going on. So, yep, that is the changes there. Anyone that's you're keen to talk about at the moment, or something we'll get into in the episode?
Something we'll get into the episode. Yeah.
Yep.
Because there's a name that I've called out ever since preseason that I want to talk about, Joel, and I need you to just put a little bit of affirmation for me. And it'll come up in a second.
I can do that. Next up is Dolphins versus the Wars. So this is at Suncorp, the first of the Saturday games, which I'm very keen. I'm very, very tempted to go and watch this game, to be honest. So I'll see what happens there. See if the missus is keen. No changes for the Dolphins after that win against the Eels. Raystone has moved to lock. In Tom Gilbert has moved back in. Has been named in the back row. For the Warriors, huge boost. James Fisher-Harris is back after overcoming that pec injury. And fellow returning star Roger Tuivasa-Sheck has been named on the extended bench and will therefore need to prove his fitness closer to it. Bunty Afoa has been named after starting at prop last week, while Jackson Ford has been omitted after suffering a concussion on the weekend. And utility Sam Healy has been named on the bench. Huge addition, James Fisher-Harris. Was actually surprisingly putting in some decent numbers before he got injured Supercoach-wise. And I don't know if he's a purchase at the moment, just see how he comes back, see how everything works out. But draft, things like that, definitely a player that I think a lot of people out there will be very happy has returned. And for the Wires in general.
Yeah, it's exciting. Hey, just going to make them better. It's as simple as that. This is not a Supercoach chat. I wouldn't be... James Fisher-Harris is not in my sights at all, to be fair. But it's good to have him back. The competition's better with him around.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anything else from a Supercoach point of view? Obviously, just keep an eye on RTS, who, if he does prove his fitness, will be in at centre. Kurt Cape will probably go into the back row, which will probably push Niakura back to the bench, because I think Halassim has been killing it and they won't be pushing him back to the bench anytime soon.
Probably won't mention him during this pod, so I might talk about him just really quickly. But how freaking good has Aaron Clark been?
Oh,
man,
talk dirty to me.
Oh man, like it's not hard to with this bloke. Holy crap, he is just dominating since and what a swap over, what a release by the Wars to then to give Aaron Clark that spot and say it's yours. And then how nice has that release worked out for Para, because Walker's done so good for Para as well. So I think it was for all the circumstances as we've heard rumors as to what happened. I think how good's that release been? But Aaron Clark has been a monster, man. So I'm just looking at my paperwork here. So it was 100. He scored 100. 74 in base, 16 runs, 14 of them were over 8 meters. Each one of them is 2 points. He's now 668K, still has a break even of 52. Wires have a decent draw over the bye. I've missed it. To me, I think I've missed the boat. I don't really want to pay that for Aaron Clark just right now, even though he is putting up serious numbers. But bloody hell, he was a good shout out when that happened. When Dylan Walker left, we all, the three of us said, get around Aaron Clark, and none of us did. And I've just been sitting here happily watching him, wishing he was in my team. He's just been a monster.
I'm kicking myself. I know I had a great week on the weekend, but I've reversed a trade that I was going to do, which wouldn't have impacted who I had. All it was simply doing was adding the boost, my last boost it would have been, and I would have got Horsburgh out for Aaron Clark last week, and it would have worked for me. And I'm spewing that I didn't do it. That I'm very much regretting I didn't do that trade. To be honest with you, though, even at the price at the moment, I'm very much, and talk about our trades later on, still very tempted on Aaron Clark. I just think the numbers he's doing at the moment is just way too good to refuse. And that duel as well helps a lot into the coming weeks with a few players out there that I'm looking at. Having Aaron Clark in my team would be very, very helpful. And it's just the price he's at the moment and the numbers he is pulling. Yeah, it feels wrong doing it, but I'm very much tempted to look at that buy.
Oh, it's definitely not wrong. 100% it's not wrong. The numbers speak for itself. Like it's as simple as that. Like he's a great buy. He's just not a buy that I want to spend for myself. But look, as a pod play for anyone in the top 10K, there's one right there. Get him.
Yeah, I can't believe he's still classed as a pod and he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
that's insane. Insane. Next up, this will be a good Saturday games are actually really good this weekend. Like we said it last on the show, on the live show. Make sure you just sit yourself in front of the lounge, guys. There are some crackers this weekend. Get in on the front foot, do the lawn, do whatever you got to do in the morning, so you've got the afternoon to yourselves. Cowboys versus Manly. What a story there is to hear. Dearden versus Cherry Evans. The list goes on. You want to see how Turbo goes against Drinkwater. As I said, there's so many little matchups in this game that we're very much looking forward to from a club point of view and obviously from an origin point of view as well. For the Cowboys, the huge change that everyone is talking about is obviously Jackson Purdue has moved into the 5'8" position, which means Tom Dearden goes to halfback and Zach Labour comes into the side in the centres. Huge news there. To be honest with you, I'm actually all for it. The more I think about these changes, the more I'm actually very much keen on them. And I like what they've done. For Manly, Jake Trbojevic goes to the lock position in a bid to perhaps win that New South Wales jersey that he had last year and was captain. Jazz Tavanga shifts to hooker and Ethan Bullimore to starting prop. Jake Simpkins shifts to the bench. Wowee. What to talk about for this game, Trav?
Yeah, like you said, the Jackson Purdue shift into the halves. I wish I had known that 2 weeks ago. Probably would have kept Purdue, but anyways, I've traded him out. In saying that, I got Lucas for it, so I'm pretty happy with that. But how good is it going to be? How good's Purdue? Purdue's been a freak in the centers. Now the ball's going to be in his hands. Oh, I'm just literally eager to watch this, and happy to if he dominates, go and buy him again. I'm tempted to do it if he dominates there in the halves, particularly obviously because Dearden's going to be out for Origin. I think that's why they've put him in here, just to try and give him that little bit of bit of experience before it comes in, before they go into the round 12 bye and off they go. I'll talk about this later around Scott Drinkwater and what I think we should be doing, or what I'm going to do. I'm just a bit wary of the Cowboys. They've got a round 12 bye, and then off they go. Then they don't have a bye until 27. So they literally play all the way through 15 rounds straight. However, in Origin, they're going to miss Dearden, Cotter, Nanai, Talangi, Robson, and everyone else that they're going to miss as well. So I'm just a little bit wary of that over the Origin period. That there's some big names, so I'm just a little bit worried about what might happen. I'm also worried about buying Drinkwater, which there's a little insight to what I'm thinking of doing this weekend. I'm just a bit worried about buying Drinkwater with all those outs. But yeah, anyways. And then on the Sea Eagles side, I have a little. I've read a couple of articles today. There's a little bit of a nous, and although last night we did our Supercoach, our Origin thoughts, I've got a feeling Ola Kawadu doesn't make Origin. And the more I think about it, the more I wish I didn't say it yesterday, because I just think over the last 24 hours, I don't think he's going to make it. And all the whispers I keep hearing, I just keep hearing silly noises around, like Jake, the Gerbo's going to get picked. And there's just some silly whispers and things I keep hearing. And I think Ola Kawadu is not going to play Origin, which is a freaking godsend for me in my Supercoach. But yeah, and then the other one I'm sort of wondering around, and I'm eager to watch this week, is Turbo. I'm not going to buy him. I don't want to buy him because I think he's going to go to Origin. But if he doesn't get picked, he's in my team next week.
Very much so. There's a couple of big watches out there. I've already got Ola Kawadu, so I'm almost crossing everything he doesn't get picked for Origin. I would love that extra number next week. But yeah, you're right. I agree with everything you sort of said there. And my draft team is very much loving the fact that Purdue is now in the halves. I can just tell you that much right now. Just strengthens things just a little bit more, which is nice.
The only problem with it is that he won't get the duel because round 12. Yeah. So it'll be next week, and he won't have played 3 games, so he doesn't get the duel. So it's a bit annoying. He will just stay as a center wing. But yeah, anyways.
Center wing in the halves. I don't mind that at all. For the next game, Sharkies against the Storm. For the Sharkies, Hazleton is sideline, but Talakai does return on the bench. Kafusi moves into the starting side. Teague Wilton is a chance to return and has been named on the extended bench. I have heard today, though, he's not going to be playing, but just keep an eye on late mail to confirm any of that. But for now, I believe they're going to have at least one more week for Teague Wilton and not push him for this one. He's just not quite there. For the Storm, Harry Grant is on the extended bench. So is Nelson Sofa Solomona once again. Hearing plenty, and not sure if Trav can confirm it for me, but I'm hearing Harry Grant will be playing this weekend. He's good to go, and I'm also hearing Nelson will be back again and be playing. So who knows, the 22 might just be a little jersey that just is his jersey now moving forward. But heard both, Trav, if you can confirm for us, I've heard both are playing.
I haven't heard anything other than what you've heard. I have heard those whispers too. I think the Nas game is just a little bit of a Bellamy playing a little bit of tricks there because he was named in the 22 spot last week and got the same jersey this week and got picked. I think he'll play again. And I think it's a no-brainer that Harry Grant plays. Seriously. If he's good, if you're going to put him, let's think back to what they did with Hughes. Jerome Hughes came out of nowhere after a week off and a bye and a week off. Broken hand, had surgery, all sorts of stitches and all sorts of things in the hand. Plays out of nowhere after the extended bench. I think they're just doing the same thing. I think he'll play.
Yeah. Next up, first of the Sunday games, and just a reminder, there is 3 games on Sunday. Obviously, because there is no Thursday night NRL game. So the Broncos against the Dragons, the first one. For them, Ezra Mam does return from his exile after having 1 week in Queensland Cup. Ben Hunt's obviously out for at least a month with that hamstring injury, which is very unfortunate for him, especially in Origin time. Wilson has been named in the back row with Pikura on the bench as well, but they'll likely switch on game day like they did last week against the Bunnies. But it didn't work, so who knows? Maybe they won't. Maybe he'll go back to keeping Wilson to start, which did work for him fairly well for a few weeks there. The Dragons, Jack DeBellin returns to the starting side with Toby Couchman out for a few weeks with that shoulder injury. Blake Laurie earns a recall on the bench. Young star back rower Dylan Egan has been named to start with Luciano Leilua on the interchange bench, but coach Shane Flanagan could swap the duo late again like he did last week. Just keeps mucking around with those two, which has been a pain in the ass for a lot of super coaches out there trying to predict things. But obviously Dylan Egan was huge on the week and he's back to a negative BE I looked at just before. So back to making a whole heap of cash, which is beautiful for those that did keep him, because I know a few weeks ago we spoke about it. There was a few starting to get off him, and so glad I wasn't one of them.
Well, I mean, if you have a look at, yeah, you're right. And he was a very good trade out then. And if you have a look at the situation that happened with Thomas Kahn, like now he's just been named and everyone's sitting there going, oh no, I wish he wasn't. So and put on the bench, and Dylan Egan potentially could have been the same thing. But he's full credit to him. He's killing it, and full credit to those that have held him, because he is killing it. No, I'm not one of them. I traded him out, but He's been a monster. Here's a name for you, and you can give a little bit of insight as to what put out some of your top 5K rank on the line. Brandon Piakura.
Just outside.
Brandon Piakura, 303K. 303K, break even of -14. He's just played 2 back-to-back 80-minute games, 62 and 52, with a base of 48 and 52, which is huge.
He scarred me from last year where I went in on him and had faith and just never ended up happening for anyone out there.
The head knock in round 1
to be
killed
fair,
everybody that got him last year.
Yeah, well, it just we couldn't get started with him, which was the annoying thing. To be fair, he has been playing well the last couple of weeks. I'll give him credit for that. Like the rumor that they'll do the late switch again, if it's based on form, like I do agree with it. I know I just said the Broncos lost, so maybe it didn't work. But in terms of a personnel purely, I think it did work, and Piakura has been good the last couple of weeks. I know he was offside, it felt like, with Madge at the start of the year, but look, that might have turned around now. As I said, his form is definitely there. It's not the worst play out there. Like, I can definitely understand if people are making it. Me personally, I'm not interested in it. I'm very content at the moment with what I've got. I'm not chasing that much cash, to be honest, either. I'm more at the moment in the turns, and I'll talk about my trades down the track, but I'm also now just looking at those solidified sort of keeper sort of players, and yeah, just not at the moment. Not at the moment for me. If this was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, I reckon I would have been a lot more interested.
Fair call. Yeah, fair call. I just wanted to throw it out there because he's, we have spoken a fair bit, and so has many of the content creators around this guy. And all we want to do is get him to is get minutes. If he can stay healthy and get minutes, we know what he can do. Well, he's now got a sample size of 2 back-to-back 80-minute games with a 62 and a 52. He's 303K. I actually think Brandon Piakura is a wonderful downgrade option for some cash if you've got the trades and fixing anything else and need that. I think he'll get some decent minutes again this week. I think that'll change around. I think he's shown what he can do. It's definitely the Broncos haven't played poor because Piakura's getting 80. If anything, he's probably helped them a hell of a lot to even get to where they have been in games. So yeah, I think he's just a shout out. The other one too, as much as I'm discussed. I'll go. Sorry.
Just one final thing. I mean, the only other thing that puts me off him a lot is just in the next 6 weeks alone, he has 2 buys in that period. So that does sort of put me off a bit as well.
Yeah, but you're buying him for value. You're not buying him because he's going to be a number for you. You're buying him for that downgrade value. But yeah, the other one, as much as I'm disgusted by saying it, but Ezra Mam. And with Ben Hunt out injured, I think, unfortunately, but fortunately, at the end of the day, we're playing Supercoach here, and all I care about in this context is dollars and points. So I'm going to eagerly watch what he does over the next couple of weeks and how he plays, because I feel like he's going to come out, and as much as he's going to cop a bashing in terms of the public eye, I think he's going to come out with a bit to prove. And he can prove it by putting some points on the board and playing well. We know he's good. We know he's got talent. It's as simple as that.
I'll let you have that one. Next game up, Raiders versus the Gold Coast Titans at GIO, coming off those amazing scenes on the weekend against the Dogs, packed out stadium. I hope, to be fair, I know there was a fair few Dogs fans there as well. I hope they back up the fans here and give. The Raiders have started really well. I know that was a disappointing second half last week, but that first half was sensational. They look like genuine premiership contenders, which I still do think they are. They lost to a team that's right up there at the moment. So keep getting behind your team up there, guys. And on Sunday afternoon, 4:00, not getting too caught up there yet. So it's still great to go out there and watch some footy. Go and cheer on your boys. They're doing some good things. But Matty Nicholson, unfortunately, is out for 3 months with that leg injury. Zach Hosking, alert. We don't need to say too much on him at the moment, I feel like, because I think it's that damn obvious. Zach Hosking is moving into the second row slot and just is screaming buy. Corey Horsburgh is back, returns just in time to impress the Queensland selectors as well. And just keep an eye, Ricky Stewart's son, Jed, is the 18th man in this one. So very close to a debut, I believe. But at the moment, that back line is singing. So he's literally going to have to wait for an injury But I feel like as soon as there's an injury in there, he will be in there, which would be pretty cool to see. To be fair, I'm very keen to see how Ricky reacts, knowing how emotional he can be in that situation. Very, very interested to see how he goes. For the Titans, huge
on a
news.
on a more important note, our boy Jake, this is actually his son.
That joke never, ever gets old. Those loyal listeners
I've been
out there,
waiting for the day that he gets picked so I can do it.
the loyal listeners out there will know exactly what we are talking about. Kieran Foran returns a huge boost for the Titans, but he's been named on the bench, which could be a sign of things to come. Might play a bit of hooker, be there for halves depth if needed as well. Jermaine Jolliffe also returns on the bench with Isaac Fa'asul-Malawi out with concussion. And Arama Howe drops out of the 17 in the starting side. Philip Sami shifts to the wing and Jojo Fafita to the centres. Where are we? Where to attack this one, Trav, this game?
I mean, we're going to cover a fair bit of this soon, but Zach Hosking's about to be an 80-minute forward. Hell yeah, let's get him. And what was the other one? We're also going to talk about this a little bit more in depth, but I think Jamal Fogarty is the Super Pod play of the week.
Get on board, baby. Get on board, my boy. Love you, Jamal. Absolutely.
Nothing to talk about the Titans. I have zero interest in those Titans.
Yeah, I am definitely with you at the moment. Last game of the round, the Tigers against the Bunnies. Again, there's a lot of decent games this weekend, actually, and a few that could literally go either way. This is one of them. So Benji Marshall has fired a rocket in the wake of the casualties, the hooker. There's a casualty of a 64-0 drumming is the hooker, Talon De Silva, who has been axed with Jack Bird taking his spot on the bench. That's it. That is
that 64-0 was an anomaly then.
Wow. Anyway, yeah.
Royce Hunt gets named.
So yeah, Royce Hunt is in. Obviously, that's a big loss for Noel Pole out injured. He has been very good for him to start the year. So those like me who have just not been able to get rid of Royce Hunt in their sides, look, it hasn't really hurt me, to be fair. It's just more annoying to have him sitting there doing absolutely nothing, losing money when we thought he was a guaranteed at least make like 100K out there. Has the chance to have 2 stints this weekend, which is awesome. Who knows what he'll do with them? If he'll do anything with them, but we've got 2 stints of Royce Hunt.
Put a reserve on him for everybody.
If I was going worse, I'd do it just for the shits and gigs. But the fact that I'm on a bit of form, I've got to take a bit more seriously this week. But content normally wins for me, but not this weekend. For the Bunnies, Alex Johnston returns on the wing, which sees Fletcher Myers make way. And Josh Schuster is once again on the extended bench. So just keep an eye on him. I'm keeping hearing whispers almost weekly lately that he's edging very close to winning a spot on that bench, but not for now, it seems. Anything to discuss on this game? For me, not really, to be honest.
No, I don't think I've got anyone from either of these teams anymore. Actually, I've got Hubner, but he's just plotted down the bottom of my bench, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's it. Royce Hunt starting. I think I definitely wouldn't be putting a play on him though. But yeah, that's it. Not interested in much else.
All right, let's
Terrell
get
May for a captain. He might be a good play.
Trying to impress the Origin supporters because apparently some out there are saying that he's not in the side anymore.
He's not going to get picked.
Absolutely crazy. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Let's get into some talking points before we get into some of the other stuff that we do. So I know one thing that you want to talk about tonight, Trav, is when do you look at value over draw? Question mark. E.g. Latrell. I'm just reading word for what you wrote, so let's see where you take it.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. So I guess the question now is, and the conversation that we've all been talking about as I pull some of my notes up. So sorry, I'm looking away from the screen for those on YouTube, but we're all looking for buy coverage now, right? Yeah, that's what we're all doing. So round 12's next week. It's the first major buy. And so we're looking at coverage to play next week. There's 13 players, so you're not going to field your 18 and looking for the top 17 scores. Next week you're trying to field as many as the 13 as you can. And so therefore, and a lot of us have got players playing Origin, so they're going to be away for that anyways. But yeah, so we've got these teams that we're trying to fill to make sure that we've got numbers. Buys. The buy rounds are a really nice and great opportunity to, if you are planned well, to make some serious ranks up. I think for me and my team, I've actually planned this really well. I've got buy coverage next week of round 12 with currently 14 players, which is why I'm starting to think about what I do this week. And is that enough? When I get, is that too many? I think the 14 is nice because it still means that if I drop someone, I can drop one person out, right? So it'll just take my best 13 scores. So do I really need to get anyone else? So then the question then comes to me, more numbers. So then the question comes, and it's a post that I put out about Latrell Mitchell Sunday, I think it was, Joel, around when is the time to buy someone like Latrell Mitchell who has the game, has the pedigree, but you're only getting him, you're only going to get him this cheap once. So at the moment, he's 586K. He's lost 280K. Okay. He's currently averaging 49.4 and got an 84 on the weekend. Right. Yeah, there was that cheeky try, but he still got that 84. He got a lot in that field goal that happened. And he's currently still only picked in 1.6% of teams. So he's a pod. And so he should be. He's about to go and play Origin. We all think he's going to get named in the centers for Origin. I think he's going to dominate in Origin. I think he's ready and primed. He's got a break even of 90. Is this the time now where you sit there and you think, because of the pedigree of what I'm going to get out of Latrell Mitchell with the matchup against the Tigers, at 586, do I just get him now because his value's good? Because he's cheap?
It's tempting. Like it really is. And I looked just before at his buy coverage. If he wasn't playing Origin, I would get him in first thing I could round 13 because they almost play all the way through the Bunnies for that little buy period, which would be awesome to have. Me personally, I can't. Obviously, I'm at the moment sitting with Drinky, Pappy, and Iongi at the moment. I'm very, very content with that at the moment. Just to work around that to hopefully have one or two play each and every week throughout this Origin period would be awesome. I just can't go Latrell at the moment while he's basically firmed and almost confirmed to play for the Blues. And it's so hard to say that because turning him down at that price is stupid in my opinion. Like we know what he can do. We know how much he in the past has lit up Supercoach in points, and he can do it in like a 10-minute burst. We've seen him so many times cruise through a game where like, why the hell did we buy Latrell? And then that last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, he all of a sudden has scored 110 points, and you're just thinking, wow, like what was happening there? So as much as it pains me, I can't do it at the moment.
So I'll put another figure out for you. He plays Sunday afternoon against the Wars in round 13. So surely he backs up after playing from the centers. So he was already going to miss round 12 anyways because the Rabbitohs have the bye. So he plays the Sunday against the Wars at 2 o'clock in round 13. In round 16, the Rabbitohs play Saturday night against the Storm. And then in round 19, the Rabbitohs play. They've got a bye in round 19. So he's going to miss that round 19. I actually think he backs up.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at Latrell, who's probably going to back up, playing a lot more games than you think he is at that value.
Does he back up off the bench, though? Because they've got Jai Gray there who's been doing such a really good job. Would they entertain the fact to start Gray and bring Latrell on to either play in the halves for that week for a 50-minute stint or come on into the fullback position? Is there a minute worry while they've got someone there who can do the job, has shown so many times this year, has done a great job there when required, and it's not a magic. Like, I think any other year, I probably would be like, yep, for sure, they'll just have Latrell there playing, but because Jai Gray's been so good, that's another small area of concern where they don't potentially need to rush. I know everyone would then sit there and go, well, Jai Gray can't do what Latrell did on the weekend. That is very granted. I get that. But goodness me, Gray's been great.
I mean, Gray's in the Dally M talking point still, even after the last couple of weeks when he's been taken out of that fullback role. And he's still sitting in the top 6. I think I saw he was 5th still.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, 100% he can. But I think the Rabbitohs are still in a position of needing to win games, and so I think they have to play him. Even if he comes off the bench, it's only going to be for a very short period of time. Kill off the start of the game, kill off some of those minutes with the hard pace of it, and then he comes in and off he goes. And I still think he's a point per minute guy. So if you play 60 points per minute, that's 60 at least as a minimum, with some of the form that I think he's starting to pick up. So yeah. It's just a question that I think everyone needs to start to ask themselves. But I think you should be asking that question if your numbers are okay for round 12. Joel, have you checked your numbers? What are you sitting at round 12?
I'm literally just looking at it right now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we're about 17 at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's counting if Olakau'atu doesn't make Origin as well. So I've got 17 provided Olakau'atu doesn't make it.
Legitimately, you got 17 players playing round 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why are you not looking at Latrell Mitchell?
I'm happy with what I got. It's working. I can't get rid of him.
So yeah, see, I'm looking at a Latrell Mitchell type for the value of that, because I've got 14 sitting there for round 12. So yeah, for me, I think you've got to look at your team for what you've got with your numbers at round 12. If you are a Supercoach Plus subscriber, there's my weekly plug. You can go up to the team tools at the top left, and if you go down, it says there's a green button that says show buys. Actually, the reason why, and it's funny that I'm saying that and that it's round 11, but I had a message today even asking, how do you know how many people are playing in your buys? So I just thought that if there's one person asking, there'll be lots of others. So it's not a bad thing at all. I think it's only been out there for the last couple of years, so it's not a very well known thing. And if you're only new to Supercoach Plus, you probably won't know it. But yeah, top left, team tools, down to show buys, and you can click. Round 12, 15, and 18 are the major buys. It shows you the mini buys, which is the 13. The 16 and the 19, they're called the mini buys, right? So, and what they mean by the mini buys is that there's 3 teams playing that have a buy on those games. Plus, also you've got to consider in those mini buys those Origin boys who are backing up. So, you can click it, but the round 12, 15, and 18 are the rounds that you get the extra trade, so the third trade, plus also they're the only rounds that account for your 13 players, not the full 17. So go in there and check and see. If you've got 11 or 12 right now playing or not playing Origin, and you've got for your numbers for your round 12 and your round 15, don't stress too much about 18 yet. You've got plenty of time to make up for that. I think you can start to consider some pod plays and some get ahead of the packs. And a couple of more get ahead of the packs players that I think that are a bit of value. One is, and here's where I'm going to use some of your NRL knowledge, Joel. Viliami Kikau. So some of our forwards are just dominating at the moment. And we're in a position right now where there's a couple of ample opportunities with an injury to Marju, and the shift of a Dylan Lucas up and down into the 2RF, into the center wings, with also everyone should have a front row forward duel in their 2RF. So you've got the opportunity here to get literally anyone from FRF to 2RF with just a simple trade there. Yep. Viliami Kikau, Joel, talk me.
I don't mind it at all. I know there's a few people out there that are starting to entertain it instead of going to Hosking. To be honest, I like trying to get both into your team. Obviously, during this buy sort of period, they're trying to focus on the Dogs play two of the smaller buys, so it's a bit easier to cover as well, which does help. I do think he's a buy. I don't know if I'll be doing it, but I definitely I can't push anyone away from doing it. And if anything, I can potentially encourage people to do that that buy. I think it's a really, really good shout. I think the Dogs at the moment without Preston there, they will go over that side, especially now as well with no Semin as well. So they've got to go down to Harry Hayes now. They'll be going more to kick outside the field. I just feel like naturally it'll be a sort of safety blanket for them. They'll know that they can go there, rely on what he can do. And the next couple of weeks, obviously, the Roosters have leaked points in the past, have shown that they can do that. And then the week after against the Dolphins, you get a good couple of weeks out of that as well. Then they'll score some points, the Bulldogs, in both games. And I think there'll be a few things around kick out in doing so.
100%. So he's all base. Oh, sorry, he's all attacking. He's got a terrible base. So it's all attack. But he's a monster. Like he's certainly, the way he plays, he's impossible to stop. When he is on the run, he's impossible to stop. He is a freak that plays 80 minutes as he should as a 2RF. He's just an absolute damaging ball playing position player that we are underrating this year, and it's probably because we're still stuck in the past of his numbers where he would get 100 and then get a 30. But it evens out, right?
To do with Preston. I think it's because of Preston killing it.
Well, yeah, but he was still putting up numbers.
Yeah.
So. But in the past, we all know that kick out can be damaging, and he would get that big monster score and then would get nothing. But it evens out, right? It still pushes him to a 50, 60 average, which is still pretty freaking good. And that's what we look at when we're trying to get things. And that's how Supercoach runs, right? They run by the averages, points scored, and then it rolls through against their formula. I mean, you're going to get a below 50 score. It's as simple as that. But he's going to get those huge scores. And the way that with Preston out the next 3 weeks or for 3 more games, it has to all run through him. Plus also what you're saying with some of those injuries, it's got to go through him. He is an amazing buy. And I think someone to really look at. The Bulldogs play all 3 of the major buy rounds. So they play all 3 of them. That's just amazing. And they missed the first 2 mini buys. So they missed 13 and 16, but play 12, 15, 18. So that's, immense. I mean, if you can load up on Bulldogs, guys, get Bulldogs players. I'm going to give you another one. And I just want a little bit of props and kudos. However, it's with a bit of grain of salt. But my man, Connor Tracy, value.
Hurry up and own him. You keep raving about him and you still don't have him.
I've literally raved about him since, 4 or 5 weeks into preseason. Get Connor Tracy. This dude's
you still don't.
He's going to have a preseason. He's going to be a preseason fullback. He's going to, work it. He's going to work his way into that match fitness as a fullback. It's his role now, and off he goes. And I've never owned him. That's not true. I have owned him, just traded him out before it was official. He's 617K now. He had a huge score again last week. He averages 69. He's in the center wings. He's got a break even of -2. He's got a break even of -2. It's hard not to get him. The dude is just dominating, and I've been talking about him forever. I really want to get him in. If I'm going to get him, I've got to get him this week. I am tossing up that, and I'll talk about my trade soon. But yeah, talk dirty to me, Joel, please.
I don't think I need to do it for this one. This is your man. Same as Fogarty for me. This is you. Connor Tracy is all you. All I have to say to you is you have been talking about that much. I'll be so disappointed in you if this isn't the week you bring your boy in. It speaks volumes. It speaks like it's almost a must. It is time for you to make it happen.
We'll see about that when I tell you what my trades are, and then I'll see if you change your tune for that. But yeah, there's that one. The other one is Hosking. So I'm just pulling up my numbers for that. Do you have anything to quickly say about Hosking while I do that?
Well, for Hosking, just from my point of view, obviously we've seen Hudson Young stole the show at the Raiders for a few weeks there, but at the same time, all throughout, Nicholson's been scoring quite well, quite consistently as well. I think Hosking has a little bit more to his bow than what Nicholson has, though. He's been playing really well in the middle, and I don't see why that will change him on the edge. 80 minutes, it looks like he will get each and every week as well, every time that the Raiders are playing. Their next bye isn't until round 15, so they've got some good coverage in the next month or so of football as well, which I really like. Got some really good matchups in that space as well. Honestly, I've got him in. Obviously Nicholson's out for what I think it's almost 3 months he's been confirmed for with that injury, so he's only going to be back close to finals time by then. So I'm happy to I'm considering him to be now a keeper, a season-long keeper. I'm rating him that highly at the moment.
Yeah, great shout out. So some numbers that I've pinched off a couple of and put all of this together and pinched off a whole heap of different paperwork and done some of my own research as well. But he's starting on the edge in those two as the starting edge in the first 2 games. He produced scores of 57 in 66 minutes and 64 in 70 minutes as a starting edge. He's had 2 80-minute games recently with scores of 92 and 109. And he's 501K in his 5 games. So now I've got some stats around. So 60 minutes, he's averaged 80 points. So it's 60 plus minutes, he's averaged 80 points.
You've said enough. Like, honestly speaking, and I know we'll get to trades, and he's in my opinion, he should be top 1. I haven't actually checked it yet, but I'm going to be out there and say that's potentially, or he might be 2 because there's obviously a cheapie going around at the moment that a few people are trying to get on. But honestly, right now, for those out there, I reckon that everyone out there are making trades this week. One of those consists of a 2RF in some way, shape, or form, like you said, whether it's doing it by the dual system as well. He has to be in your plans. Like, this is the week you simply have to get him.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to get him. Based your trades around getting Zach Hosking. And I hate saying that because I'm getting him. He was literally the first person I traded in at 11:30 on Monday after a Monday morning. So I'd love him to be a pod play, but as a content creator, get Zach Hosking because it's just, the stars have aligned for this role. He'll play 80 minutes, I reckon. He's locked that in. Unfortunately for Nicholson, who's done well and has done very well for everybody, he's out. But, it's left it an ample opportunity. My last one that I want to talk about value is obviously another forward, Britton Nikora. He's, again, still bargain price, 542K, has a break-even of 32. He's played off the back. He's got back-to-back 70s. I brought him in last week, ecstatic that I've got Britton Nikora. Does miss a mini bye next week. In round 13, but plays the bye in round 12. Just be careful of that bye in round 13 because it's Dolphins and Bulldogs with that, and we do own a few, as well as it coming off Origin. But the mini bye there, but then plays 14, 15, 16, 17, misses the major bye of 18, but plays again the mini bye of 19. So that 18, we don't need to worry too much about. That's a long way away. That's 4 rounds between there. But does play those 2 major byes, 12 and 15, which is huge. This is the time to get Britton Nikora too. It's time. Like, as I said to you, the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago when I wanted to get Britton Nikora, but he just had that really high break even still. And I thought, no, I'm going to wait. I'll get him to go down. And he did. He dropped another 20K. And I was like, now I can't not get him. I've got to get him last week. And I did. That's the back of 2 70s. Britton Nikora has remembered how to play footy again. He is a monster. Get him in your team. What's your thoughts there?
I'm sticking strongly with what I said last week on this show. I am crossing everything, and my plan is still to get him in my team post the round 13 bye. So round 14, I will definitely be trading him in. This week against the Storm, and then the week after that against the Roosters. Provided if all goes to plan, I don't think Teddy will play. Like, I think Crichton obviously will be in the Blues. They'll have a few out. The Sharkies will probably be almost full strength. So it's not the worst time to get him. I do understand what you're saying, But for me at the moment, I'm not really wanting to make that many 2RF changes this week. And at the moment, as much as it pains me because I do see the value in what you're talking about, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm just going to hold off and just pray I can get him for still a decent price come round 14. So please don't do much this weekend and just somehow don't do much around 12 either. Have a holiday. Go away.
Anything around 60 points, I'm going to be ecstatic with that BE of 33 against the Storm. I think this is going to be a monster game, and this is the type of game that Nickera drops in for a try somewhere, I think, this weekend, and just pushes that up. I'm bloody excited about this game, to be fair. Supercoach-wise and also
versus Katoa?
Oh, bloody hell. No, it's Bloor, isn't it? He plays on Bloor side. He'll play against Bloor.
Oh, I was going to say that's
Let me have a look.
Even so, like Katoa versus Nickera, two of the best ball running edge back rowers in the competition. Great game. Plenty of super coaches will be watching that. Unfortunately, I'm going into that game not owning either one of those, which is a bit unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. Let's move on to the next.
It goes up against Bloor.
Yeah, okay. All right. No worries. That's still not the worst. Bloor's been in some really good form as well. That's next to Cleary as well. So yeah, look out for that one. Next up, what to do with Nathan Cleary? Obviously a very popular player this week for many reasons. Talk of the town for Origin, being halfback, potentially even captaincy out there as well. And then obviously from a Supercoach point of view, so many people do own him. Starting to see a bit of nice little cash from him. He's a nice price at the moment where people are downgrading or trading. Some are holding. What do we do with Nathan Cleary, Trav?
I don't know. You tell me.
I understand the trade this week.
There's a reason why I've asked you.
Yeah, I understand the trade this week. To be honest with you, I'm not doing it. I'm holding off a week. I still can't get my head around who I'm actually going to trade him for. So I needed one more week to have a look at that. I love the Fogarty play. I really, really do. But I also don't want to get too many Raiders in at the same time. And I'm getting Hosking in this week. I just don't want to go too much all in on the Raiders just because I've still got Hines playing this week and I've got some really good reserve options that missed out last week that I can play this week. I've got a few trades happening as well. So I can actually afford to sit Cleary there. I'm not banking on those points this week. I can get them elsewhere. So I'm happy to sit there. I don't need his cash this week. I'm going to wait 1 week. I'm 98% sure I will trade him next week just because of this Origin run coming up. The Panthers got some buys in there as well. I do think he will back up. That's the thing. I think they're in a position now where he has to back up. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like I'll probably regret it as well. I just don't think I'll be holding him. Say that for now.
Right. I figured you were going to hold him, which was exactly what I wanted to hear, which is why I asked you that question. I actually think he backs up too. He has to back up. Sunday afternoon, 4:00 against Para. I think he backs up round 13. I don't think that's a problem. So the question then is he a hold? I actually think he's not. And to be fair, Joel, and I've got to ask the question, if you're going to trade him next week, why the hell wouldn't you trade him this week? Because you're going to hold a number, you're going to hold 767K this week to then trade that next week. He's going to miss next week as well to then have him come back in 13. It makes no sense. If you were going to make the trade, you'd make it now and then potentially you buy him back in 13 if you have to, if you really want him to. But I think you've got to make the play. You make it now because he's going to miss 2 weeks.
I've got trades up my sleeve that I want to make that I've prioritized. That's purely why. He's literally trade number 4 I would make this week, and unfortunately, we don't have 4 trades.
Clear is definitely a worthy hold. I have no problems with that. I've actually said that to a few people that have messaged me about whether they should hold Cleary or not. And I've had a look at the team and went, yeah, like you can make a trade here. Oh, so you can hold him for sure. 11 and 12 comes back for 13. We'll play 14. Then, sorry, guys. Plays 14, but unfortunately misses 15. So So he'll play 13 and 14, doesn't play 15. Then he's got to back up.
Just quickly, to be fair, 13 and 14 against the Eels and then the Tigers as well. So they're decent matchups.
Yeah. But Origin is in the second game of Origin is in Perth, isn't it? So he's got to go to Perth, and then he's got to go from Perth to Auckland to play New Zealand. No. So now you've got him missing 16 as well. So not only is he missing 11, he'll miss 12. He backs up and plays 13 and 14. He misses 15. He will miss 16. And then he's got to play the Bulldogs in 17, doesn't play 18, and then plays Para 19, potentially doesn't back up on that one because that round 19 game is the Saturday afternoon. So he's going to miss at least 5 of the next 8, 5 of 8.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, he's a sell. Yep. So the point is, what I'm trying to say is my intention is trying to give the stats and the figures and things like that for people who are not seeing these and can't see it, is that 767K Cleary, we're all happy to have. We're captaining him. Hines is making a case for the number 1 halfback at the moment. Easily, but we're all happy to have Cleary just pushing out 50s, 60s, and 70s. It is what it is because no one else is really doing much other than Hines on the weekend who got 104. Hughes on the weekend who got 104. I just think Cleary is definitely a trade out, and I'm going to pull him back in at 19 against Para. And so I'm trading him out at 760K. And so I've got a couple that I want to sort of talk to you about, and you alluded to it before, not alluded, you talked about it. I think Fogg is an absolute amazing play. The dude is averaging 71 at the moment. He's 719K, so he's 80K, 50K cheaper, averaging 70.5 off the back of a Bulldogs game where he got an 82 in a game that they just got absolutely dominated in the second half. He has a great run. Yes, he's got a break even of 101. I don't think that's a worry. Obviously, he's going to lose money, but I think money versus points is really important. And sometimes you've got to ignore the break even over what you're going to get. He plays the Titans this week, man. So even then, he's got a break even 101, and maybe he loses points, but he plays the Titans. He could get 100 points. He could make 100, yeah. So then he's got the Wars in round 12. Then he plays 13 against the Roosters. I have no problems with that game. He plays Rabbitohs in 14 and then has their first bye in 15. I know what you're saying around holding on, and you don't want to hold on too many Raiders. You got 4 weeks to sort that out. You got 11, 12, 13, and 14 to sort that out, and then you can trade him in before 15. So, or trade one of them to sort of deal with that and fix that. And to be fair, how many Raiders guys have you got? Really, maybe 3.
Yeah, I've got 3 with a plan to get 4. So
I don't
I'm
think
planning
that's
next
too
week.
many.
I'm bringing 1 more in.
I honestly don't think that's too many. I think Fogarty. I think Fogarty is an amazing buy and a swap for that. The other one that I'm sort of contemplating to put out there for you is Hughes. On the back, he's 633K. He's dropped 170. He's got a break even of 52. This is the rating Dally M member. Looks a little bit injured at the moment, but even though he's been, we've spoken about him being injured the last 5 weeks, his last 4 rounds, 61, 76, 51, 105. So that's not too bad for a dude who's looking like he's injured. And Origin time is when Hughes dominates. So no Munster. There'll be games where he doesn't play Munster. Guess who's the ball's going to be in whose hands that ball's going to be in? Jerome Hughes. And we all saw what Jerome Hughes does last year. He won a Dally M when Munster doesn't play. I'm very, very excited about that. Okay, so the Storm don't play 12 and 15, which are 2 major buys. I think by 15 you can manage that. I think we should all be pretty sorted for the round 12 bye next week. I don't mind the buy of Hughes right now. He then comes into the round 13 against the Gold Coast Titans and then the Cowboys, who are a defensive liability. Fun to watch. defensive liability for Supercoach. Then he's got the bye in 15. We can fix that. Then he's got the Rabbitohs in 16, Sharks in 17, Cowboys in 18, Newcastle in 19. That's just a juicy run for me.
Yep. And I also like the play of having both him and Hines in my team because it's a nice pairing. They both never have the bye at the same time throughout this period. So at least if you don't have one, you've got the other, which I really am a fan of at the moment. So I'm not going in this week, but I will. I'm very, very tempted to go in over the weeks to come. Within the next 2 weeks, I feel like I'll be having Hughes in my team.
Yeah, you'll have to, if you don't hold him now, you'll miss him in 12. So you got to get him for 13 against the Titans. With that, I mean, you're not going to get him at 6.33 though. He's got to break even at 52. I think he gets more than 52 this week against the Sharks. So he's going to get a little bit, but I don't think I don't think he's going to get a monster score. I think he gets that. I think he'll just get a really nice Jerome Hughes score, 70, 60, 70, 80-ish. Just because he's going to have to play well. We're going to have to play well against the Sharks. So I think that, but see, he's not outpricing you. He'll be around. He's got a projected score of 59 this week, which is only a 5.3 price rise. I think he gets more than that. I think he gets around 70-ish, 75. I think he projects around 20, 25K increase. He's going to sit around 650, which is still pretty amazing value for Jerome Hughes for round 13. So I really like that play. And the last one I've got for you for that one is Mr. Campbell.
Oh, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. Oh, goodness me.
I think we could all play with Jules to get Jaden Campbell into our team. The Titans have a pretty good draw over the buys. They don't play 12 and 18, so they'll miss next week, and then obviously 18. But by then you've got things sorted. I think you should be planning on that. Once you get past this round 12, you're starting to think around some numbers for 15. Once you get to about 15 or just before 15, you're starting to think any of those guys you bring in, it has to play 18, right? So you've got to be 4 or 5 weeks in advance for that. So you can sort him out in that missing that round 18 bye. Plays Raiders this week, which, to be fair, he's scoring. They haven't really played anyone. He hasn't when he's played. In round 3, he played, the first game against the Bulldogs, he got 46. Then in Newcastle in round 3, he got 117. Played the Roosters for a 63, the Dolphins for a 52, the Dragons for an 83, and Newcastle for an 86. So other than the Bulldogs, he really hasn't played great defenses. He's got the Raiders this week. It's a test. But he's 692. He's got a decent draw over the buys. He's got a break even of 59, and currently he's averaging 74.5. He's in 6% of teams.
Don't buy this week. Watch past the buy next week and then make a decision. Just see what he can produce against the Raiders this weekend.
Fair call. Just wanted to put his name out there because the people are messaging me about it. So, yeah, that's it for those talking points.
You're not even supposed to be back yet, JC. What are you doing to us?
Goodness, he wasn't supposed to be back until bloody round 13. And we all knew we were getting him too. We were going to get him. We all had it. We had it on our whiteboards. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments again, guys. Get involved. Let us know what you are doing with Nathan Cleary if you are an owner. Who you're going to if you're holding. Let us know in the comments. Fire those comments up on YouTube. Podcast as well. Let us shout us out a few comments and things like that there. Give us a rating as well if you can. It does go a long way of helping grow the podcast. We're getting messages weekly at the moment with new watchers or listeners saying how much they're enjoying things. So it really is helping us grow. It does work, guys. So if you want to find ways to support the page and you can't, whether it be financially buying hats or helping us out with that way or merch, that's a free way to do it. And it does generally go a long way of helping us. And we really do appreciate it a hell of a lot. So go ahead, share it, let your mates and that know. And give us a rating, follow it, that bell icon, all that sort of jazz really does help us out. And thank you very much. Trade in and trade outs. I'll go to the trade outs first. So the first two are self-explanatory, so we don't need to spend too much time on them. So Greg Marju and Maddie. Oh, I've got this. What do you guys normally do? I've got them currently over all coaches. You normally go top 10, don't you?
10%.
Top 10%?
Yeah.
I go to 10%. Hasn't changed at all. Greg Marju and Maddie Nicholson. Obviously very clear cut why you'd be getting rid of both of those and very much fair trades. Nathan Cleary is third. We've already had a massive discussion about Nathan Cleary as well, so there's no need to talk any more about him. If you are selling him, fair enough. Next up is Thomas Cant, who has this week been named on the interchange bench. So I think people are getting off now because there is that chance of him losing even more cash. So they want to get off and not risk any more cash getting lost from Thomas Cant. Do you agree with that trade out there, Trav?
I mean, I see it. He's got a break even of 52. I would hold. I think if you've got him, why bother trading him now? I'd hold. Surely you've got other things you can fix or you need to manage. I'd just hold and sit him on there because he's a number next week. If he's with Origin, yeah, I'd just be
such an awkward price as well. 421. There's just not much happening at the moment.
I mean, it costs you. I mean, it'll cost you 80K to go to Hosking, which is what most of them are doing. I mean, there's only 1,000 in the top 10% that have done it. So 4.5 of the top 10% have traded him out. And it's mostly to Hosking, which is going to cost you 80K exactly. It's 110K to Nickera. Yeah. So, I mean, I can see it, but I'd be trying to find elsewhere.
If you're going down Cleary from someone, you can probably definitely afford those sorts of trades as well. Fifth on the list is someone actually I'm very interested to have a bit of a chat with you about is Corey Horsburgh. Obviously, the jewel's still sitting there nicely. 550K. I think his B is around the 60-odd mark, which he has 69. Done 69. So I think he's only reached over 69 2 or 3 times this season, but he's got a lot of 60 scores, so he's gone just under that a number of times as well. I don't predict he'll lose much cash, if any at all, this week. I think it's a big weekend where he'll come out and really want to put on a show and show that he deserves that Origin jersey and that starting Origin jersey as well. I originally had him in my plans to sell this week, but the longer this week has gone, the more I'm actually very much wanting to keep him for this week purposes. I think he'll score very decently against the Titans and then look at what to do with him post next week. Next week after when Origin sides get selected, things like that. What are your thoughts, Trav?
So just to give you some of the numbers, he's got a B of 69. He's only scored above 69 once, which was against the Broncos for an 84. He has a 61, a 65, a 65, a 68, a 67, with a 45 against the Storm, which he got knocked out in, and then 2 50s. So he still puts up numbers, right? He plays the Titans. I traded him out 2 weeks ago because I knew that I didn't want him to. He was going to miss out last week, so he was my trade straight from. I went straight him to Nickera, and just held because I knew that he wasn't going to. I wouldn't have him that last week. I knew he was going to come back this week, but then he'd play Origin, so he would miss 12. And then potentially doesn't back up again in 13. And I was just double checking when they played because I thought the Raiders played an early game. But no, they don't. They actually play 6:15 on the Sunday. So he probably backs up on that third Sunday. So, but I just didn't want to miss 2 games out of him. And I wanted Nickera, and it worked out all right. So I don't get it. If you didn't trade Horsburgh a week or 2 weeks ago, why are you trading him now when he's playing and a number and you want that 60? Most are going to have him in that reserve spot. I'd just be keeping him, literally just keeping him. He's not going to change really. And if anything, he probably goes up because I think he gets a few extra minutes this week after having the head knock last week. So he's got the few extra minutes, knows that he's more than likely going to Origin. So he'll run himself into the ground here against the Titans. Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer keeping. I think that's a waste of a trade.
I absolutely agree, and I will not be trading him out. I have dead set decided I will not be doing that as one of my trades this week. Next on the list, Adam Dewey, or Dewey, however you want to pronounce that one. 461K, just made 1.4K. Sits at a very awkward BE as well at the moment. I think it's 70, 71 or so. But to me, I got rid of him a fair few weeks ago, actually. Haven't really thought about it since. I don't think it's really hurt me much, to be fair, either. I don't mind getting rid of Adam Dwayne at all. Trav?
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
You know, we're at that point now where you don't want plotters. Sort of like, okay, yeah, he gets a 70, which I think he got a couple of weeks ago, but he's got to go. I think there's plenty of options around him that you can get, even though he's at 461. He's named in the 5'8" or 7 wing. There's plenty of choices around that you can go and get him out.
Next on the list is Sevilio Tamale from the Raiders, 562K. Just went up 3.1K. Does have a bit of a bigger B. I think it's in the 70-odd mark once again. Again, he is versus the Titans, though. I think the Raiders are on a bit of a bounce back this week. And I haven't once tempted selling him this week. I just feel like there's a bit of value there. Yeah, again, I just don't see the trade this week. I would definitely
makes no sense. Why are you trading out it? Why are you trading out another dude that's going to play 12? So he's going to play this week against the Titans. He's also going to play 12, 13, and 14. It makes no sense. Off the back of, here's some numbers, right? 89 against the Titans last time, 76, 77, and there's three. They're pretty good scores, aren't they, Joel? Yeah,
mate. Take that, especially when we got him for what 230 odd K.
Yeah. Then he gets a 35, but who did he play? The Bulldogs. Like they do that to everyone. What you don't judge the score of what he's done against the Bulldogs. It's like the past game past games of what people have done, and you don't judge a score against Penrith, Melbourne, and now you don't judge that score of Bulldogs. Like it is what it is. He plays the Titans, plays round 12. I don't get it. Makes no sense to me. Keep him. He's got a break even of 73, right? Could easily get 73. All he's got to do is get a try. He can get that.
He can get that.
I mean, I just gave you 3 scores before the Bulldogs above 73.
Yeah. No, I agree. Not a sell in my opinion this week. Hit reverse on that one. Next on the list, features every week at the moment. Kalen Ponga. You know what? I feel like if you held Kalen Ponga for this long, they're versing the Eels at home. This is a week where I would be very happy to play Kalen Ponga. I think they could score some points in this one. Not a week, especially at the moment. 543K. Did lose 4K on the weekend, so he still is losing money. I know he's about to go into Origin, things like that, but I would at least be playing him this week and then re-evaluating what to do next week.
To be fair, he's got a break even of 48, and since round 2, he has only scored above 48 once.
And that was against
owner? That. No, I'm not. I was last week when he scored 90, or the week before when he scored 98 against South. I actually legitimately think he puts that against the Para this weekend. I think he destroys them. I honestly, I don't see too many positives this week for Para, unfortunately, in my opinion. And I'm not having a go at Para at all there. I just think Ponga's just got a point to prove with some shit that's been happening. He's going into Origin. He's just going to prime himself. This is a game. This is a danger game. So I'm a happy owner of Ponga going into this weekend. I want him the hell out of my team, but I just don't know how I'm going to get him out. But with a break even of 48, and if he puts up a 90 odd, he's going to go up a fair bit. He'll be sort of 40, 50K more expensive with a decent break even again. He'll obviously miss Penrith because of Origin. Does he back up against the Dragons? Potentially. What's that, round 13? No, he doesn't, because they play Friday night, so he's not going to back up against that. So he misses 13. So I think I'm going to hold him for this week and then hope a big score and then look to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think if you held him for this long, go one more week and then have a look next week. And as well, next week is the one where you get an extra trade for basically not using a boost. So if you do use a boost as well, you get even another one. So I think you can have 4 all up in the end if you do use a boost. So you've got a lot of what I'm trying to say there is you've got a lot of room to move next week in terms of freeing up a couple of those not as expensive guys, putting that money together, getting like a really gun, then maybe getting a very good cheapie or something like that as well. So for now, if you've held Ponga this long, hold him one more week. Why not? Ninth on the list, Toby Couchman, injured. Totally understand it. Currently 572K, just lost 55K, so it's on downward spiral. If you haven't yet, I'd probably say get off.
Yep, agreed, unfortunately.
And last on the list, Billy Smith, 404K. I don't really have much to say on this one, to be honest. I feel like I'm a Billy Smith owner. I'm not happy. I'm not great, very happy with what he's doing at the moment. But saying the same, I'm just going to hold him for now. The Roosters, as we've spoken about, have very good buy scheduling at the moment. He's a number. I would just be holding him I think most teams out there with Billy Smith would have other issues to sort out this week. I'm just happy to keep him.
I get it. Plays the Bulldogs this weekend. Has a break even of 65. Has put up 2 scores in a row of 30s. Against pretty poor defensive teams in the Dragons and Dolphins. Then goes up against the full-strength Sharks team where potentially they have they'll have Lenu and Crichton out. Watson probably as well. And if Teddy gets picked, they'll have Teddy out as well. I see it. I can see it.
And Smith.
Yeah. So, yeah, I see it.
I can see it.
Round 13.
I can see it.
Then he plays round 30. He's got Canberra, and then obviously the bye in 14. Yeah, I don't think Billy Smith did what we wanted.
Who are you going to at the moment? Obviously, for those Cleary owners who have gone all the way down to King Togia, that they could almost go to anyone. That could be like they could go all the way up to bloody Farnworth or something. But or the Knights guys. Everyone's talking about some of the Knights guys at the moment. They haven't got anyone like that in yet. Like I can get that, but yeah, let's just see what happens. I can see it from both angles, to be honest. And like I said, I'm just going to hold him for now for a number. When the time comes that I can do that trade, I've got more pressing issues, I feel like, at the moment that I want to deal with. The top traded in, number one, Zach Hosking, no surprise at all. He is the top trade in for the top 10%. I think we've spoken at length already about Zach Hosking. Yep. I don't think we need to say too much more. Definitely buy. Liking King Togia is number 2. 198K, absolutely bottom dollar. His BE at the moment is minus 51. He's had scores so far. He's played 2 games so far. They have both been bloody 83 and then a 33 against the Warriors. So 2 sort of polar opposite ends of the spectrum. Not the worst. The 33 still technically would have made him some money as a bottom dollar cheapie. So you would take it. You know what, though, Trav? I'm not a fan of getting him in. I just, at this time of the game and where we're at with Supercoach and the players and that, I know Jesse's been big on having that chunk of cash so you can almost do whatever you want with it. I'm also just very cautious of being stuck with him. If he doesn't go well, like I just don't want to personally, I'm not going to be putting him in my team.
And to be fair, Jesse has spoken about that, but hasn't got him either. I don't know if that's in Jesse's plans this weekend. I actually don't think it is, but he's not in my plans, but he was in my plans last week. I wanted that cash. The issue's been is that the Marju injuries kind of have changed that, and then my perception or thoughts around what I want to do with Cleary has then changed that, and King Togia is 5'8". So it's just as simple as that. He doesn't play 12 either, so I want to get a number in 12. He only got a 33 last week. He just didn't look good, and there was a try assist in that 33. So he just didn't do anything really against the Wars. He's got the Broncos. I don't think this week at Suncorp, I just can't see the Broncos sucking. So I've just got a feeling Broncos put a bit of a number on them. Kind of what happened against the Bulldogs in a wet game. So, I'm just a bit fearful of that. Plus, then they've got the bye in 12. Look, and then they've got a decent run in terms of him playing. However, is he even going to play? Yeah. So, Ilias has been doing really well in the Magoos. So does he come back? There's just a little bit of there's just a few alarm bells for me around wanting to get him. I will say he will get the dual, so he will get the 5'8" halfback, But when he gets that halfback duel, that's next week in round 12. So you'll have cost yourself at least a 60K price rise. He's currently predicted to only score 35 for a 68K price rise. I think 40 odd is probably about what he's going to get against the Broncos this weekend. So, if that's the case, he'll be around 250 odd. He's still a cheapie then. Anything under 300 at this point in time in this game, still a cheapie. So, I can think about that in round 13 if I want to, but right now I'm not, he's not in my plans. I just want to watch and see. I have avoided and got rid of the AE nightmares. Yeah. I want to avoid those AE nightmares, and I just can see King Togia doing that to me, and I don't want to do that.
I agree with everything you are saying. Next on the list, Dylan Lucas and then Fletcher Sharp. I'm just going to put them together because by now, if you don't have either of these two, make sure you have got both in my opinion. I think the Knights sort of the buy schedule, things like that is really good. These two have shown even in a poor side that they can still score very well. For mine, it is an absolute no-brainer to have both of these in by now. You should have. If not, this is the week. Just get them both in, get it done, deal with it, make it just done.
Yeah, I mean, really, really quickly, Dylan Lucas is 27% owned and is now grown another 5%. He'll be 34% owned at least by the end of this round. He's got a break even of 49. Guys, the average is 82. Like, that's a no-brainer. And he plays para. So I think you can bank at least a 60, 70. If you're not, I think you can bank an easy 60, 70 for him with the way that he's been playing. He's a no-brainer. Get him in. I'm a Fletcher owner sharp, have been for the last couple of weeks. He is also a no-brainer. His just base is just enormous for what he is doing. He's 684K. He's got a B of 8. Off the back of the last two games where he's got 128 and 89. Plays all the way through to 18 with a really nice draw. Fletcher Sharp, I would actually, to be fair, out of the two, prioritize Fletcher Sharp over Lucas because there's a little whisper that Lucas becomes the 18th man in Origin. So that means he misses next week as a 12.
That would absolutely suck balls. And clearly, Laurie Daly would not be a Supercoach player. What in the world?
There's a chance. There's a chance, and there's a little whisper that he plays as the 18th man.
I think give it to someone.
I think it's either him or Pappenhausen.
Give it to little Isaiah Katoa. He deserves a crack. Get him in there. Get him in there. Don't give it to Paps. No, Paps can play. If he's not chosen in the 1 or the 14, he can go and play. And just honest, no.
You're playing as a Supercoach player and not with realistic views.
I care about myself. Mate. I'm on the up. Next up, Herbie Farnworth, 723K. Did just lose 4K actually. Currently has a BE of 76 versus the Wars this week. Suncorp day game Saturday during the day. What are your thoughts on getting Herbie Farnworth in at this stage, Trav?
Oh, if you can get him. 100%. I've wanted to get him in since bloody round 5. The day after that, he scored that 55 against the Titans. I went, you beauty. Here's a chance where I think he might drop a bit of cash. He hasn't dropped at all. He's dropped 4K for the whole year. That's just unheard of. Either Supercoach has stuffed up the numbers, or it's just funny what he does because he just doesn't drop money. Averaging 74.2. He's got a really nice buy draw. He does have the mini buy, which is in 13, which is alongside the Bulldogs and the Sharks, which is a little frustrating. But he misses the round 18 major buy. But he plays New Zealand this week. He's got the Bulldogs next week, but the Bulldogs missing Crichton will be quite nice. As a matchup there, but then he has the bye. Then he's got the Dragons, the Cowboys, Newcastle, and the Rabbitohs as he goes into the 18. Herbie Farnworth is ready for a tear, as he's already kind of doing. You watch these games with Herbie, and
you're like versus Crichton, by the way.
You sit there and true. But you watch these games with Herbie, and you go against and you watch him, and you're like, oh yeah, Herbie's done nothing, and then out of nowhere he puts up a try, and there's 70 for him. I just want that. I just want that from my centre winger. Get Herbie Farmworth if you can.
I want it as well. I've now decided I'm not going to get him until post the 13 bye. That next little window they've got there, but until that round 18 bye, it looks delicious for him. And I'll be making sure by round 13, after the round 13 bye, he's in my team, which I'll be watching very nervously for the next 2 weeks. Still hate not having him, but it's just a decision I've come to make for myself. Next up, Nico Hines. 705K, just made 42K, so he's on a bit of an upwards spiral. Currently, at the moment, 39 BE as well. I just think Nico, I was so thankful I got him in the other week. He's been fantastic for me since. Another one where it's sort of like, if you don't have him, sort of, I get for right now, Cleary down to Hines. If you don't have Hines in your team for whatever reason, that's a very simple trade in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. Curb your thoughts around and expectations. He plays the Storm this weekend. I don't think he gets a monster score, but I think he still scores pretty well. I think we will all be happy owners of Nico Hines. I got Nico Hines 2 weeks ago for his 117 against Para for the Magic round, and very happy last week watching him against the Sea Eagles get a 76. They've got a good draw. I'll repeat again. Just watch that mini buy. How many dudes you own of Sharks, Bulldogs, and Dolphins? And it's important to understand because it's straight after Origin. So those guys who don't pretend, we're sitting here saying based off where they are at. What day they play, what time they play, who they play, they're going to play. Like they'll back up, but they may not. And then you don't know if there's going to be injuries and all that sort of stuff. So just be careful how many of these guys you own for 13. But otherwise the run's good. Nico Hines is in my team and he's not going anywhere, and I'm pretty happy about that now.
Yep, I agree. Next on the list, your boy Connor Tracy. I've already spoken at length about him. We'll see by trades if Trav is one of those people that the percentages have eaten up. Next on the list, Ruben Garrick, 663K. Has been losing money, surprisingly enough, but I think everyone's starting to click on to how good the buy schedule is for Manly, especially Garrick, who won't be playing Origin. To be honest, we've always said, even if for those over the last few weeks who are looking at selling him to then bring him back, you can just hold him through. He's a fantastic player to have coming up. So if you don't have him, can totally understand getting him in. Just surprised so many people haven't had him.
Well, he's 38% owned, so there's still a good 62% who don't own him. So he's still a pod, I suppose. If you haven't got him, get him. He plays 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, doesn't play 16. They play the Cowboys, Para, Broncos, Newcastle, Gold Coast before the 16 bye.
Yeah. Next up is player number 9 on this list, and it is Joe Tarpany. I am so big on this buy at the moment, Trav. I can't do it this week, which I hate. He's the guy that I was talking about for next week that I just simply am going to be getting in. I'll be watching nervously because 79 BE, he could easily get that against the Titans. So he could go up a little bit more cash, so that would be a little bit annoying. But to be honest, he's doing some really, really good numbers in a time where we're going to lose both May and Haas, I believe anyway, because of Origin and then potentially backing up buys, things like that. I think he's very important to have around this time.
Yep. I would love to. To be fair, I'd love to have a boost because if I had a boost, he'd be in my team. I do not have a boost, so he's not in my team. I'm trying to figure out how I manage it to get him in, and I'm okay with that. But he is just destroying it. However, last time he played the Titans, he only got 49, but he in his lowest minute game for the year, which was 48. His second lowest minute game, which is 48.
He had a sin bin, I think, that game.
He did. We want to talk. We want to talk about being matchup proof against the Melbourne Storm. He got 72 at Magic Round, and against the Bulldogs last week when they got towed up in the second half, he got 89. He's got to go and play the Titans. Then he plays New Zealand. Then he's got the Roosters. Then he's got the Rabbits. Then he's got a 15 bye. Yeah, man, that's just going to help you. He is currently in my 3 or 4 of who I'm going to trade Cleary to, and I'll talk about that in a tick. But yeah, would love to have him.
Yeah, absolutely love that play this week. Last on the list, Scotty Drinkwater, 906K now. Just went up 84K as well. Has a BE of 54 against Manly this weekend. So it looks like he still is making some money. Crazy to think that amount is in the top 10 is paying that price for Scott Drinkwater. What are your thoughts around this one? Are you happy to be getting him in at this stage at that 906K mark? That is top dollar.
It is top dollar for a dude who's averaging 88. He's been on a freaking tear. 4 weeks ago, we could have got him for 690. Oh, killer. Off the back of a 76, a 74, a 78, then he goes and puts a 132 against the Titans, 127 against New Zealand, and 170 against Penrith. And it feels like he's done all of that work in the second half of every one of those games. So, like, could you imagine what he would do if he was playing full 80? Excuse me.
No, you're right. Have a choke.
Yeah. Does have the round 12 buy. He is top dollar. He is in my number one trade option right now. And I'm happy to pay top dollar for him. Plays Manly. It's at home. He's got the round 12 buy. Then he literally plays all the way through to round 27. The issue I've got, and the one thing is kind of what I said to you before at the start of this podcast, is there's a lot of talent that he is very reliant on at the moment, playing Origin and skipping games and missing games. So just a bit, it's very much buyer beware. Like, am I buying Drinkwater, because of his recent 3 massive hundreds? I am, but I'm buying it with a little bit of beware and a little bit of a watch.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with that. I just look at what's going to happen. So obviously 13's where the potential Origin players will back up, or some might not. They do play the Tigers. They play the Storm full strength round. Then the Dolphins in an Origin affected game. Not the worst team to have there, but they probably won't be that affected by Origin. So Dolphins will be very strong there. The comeback game would be against the Roosters. And then going over to then the round 18 game, that's against the depleted Storm side as well. Then they've got the Bulldogs in the comeback game post Origin. Also, that's normally the big game that most teams rest their players as well, because it's a game after game 3. They give their players a full freshen up. So, yeah, it's slightly concerning. At the same time, it's not some of the worst games to be playing in that time frame. I feel like Drinky's in that form where he will naturally step up. It's just about, will he have enough talent to go with him? Purdue being in the halves now might be huge for him moving forward. That might be a really good play. They can work together, line breaks, things like that, tries for each other, things like that. Could be a really cool little partnership that starts to happen. I'm happy to keep him. I'm happy to get him. I just don't know about paying that top dollar for him at the moment. I just don't know if that sits too well.
Oh, he's 100% worth the top dollar. But they've also recently been putting on points, right? And he's the goal kicker. Yeah. So they put up 50 against the Titans. They put up 26 against the Wars, and they put up 30 against the Cowboys. He's kicked a few points. He's kicked a few field goals in that time. So his points have been amplified because of their high scoring. Do they continue that scoring run over this Origin period? I don't predict that they do. So there's some points that's going to drop away. Now, does he pick up extra points because the ball's going to have to be in his hands a bit more? I think so, because they're going to have to rely on Purdue now with their choice. Who's, granted, like, he's played his junior career and all sorts through the halves, but not in an NRL. So, which is different. So, does Drinky have to come through and do that and play the ball in his hands? Yes, which means maybe more mistakes, errors, all that sort of stuff. So they're all things to consider. And, you know, some people are going to sit there and go, Trav, what are you talking about, mate? It's Drinkwater and this is what's going to happen. But you know, when we are considering, as tragics that we are, we have to think of and consider some of these things and put it out there as content creators for you. So I'm just putting it out there, but I'm going to be honest, he is my current number one trade-in option.
Ooh. Talking about that, let's get to it. Let's get to our trades at the present time. Obviously, this may change, and if it does, go onto the Legends group, guys. $2.99 a month. Talking all things NRL exclusive content, Supercoach exclusive content. Everyone's getting amongst it, asking questions. You can ask directly to the Supercoach boys as well, and they reply basically within the hour or so, depending on work commitments, things like that. But I currently have, and I just said I am reversing it because I don't want to get rid of Horsburgh this week, which was originally in my plan to do. So I'll just read it out what it currently says, and obviously please check the Legends group over the next 24 to 48 hours to see what my confirmed changes are, because it will be changing. But at the moment, I've got Horsburgh, Yo, and Marju are out. And then I've got Hosking, Aaron Clark, and Mark Nwanga Nitawasi as my little left field sort of option. I was very big on him a couple of weeks ago before the bye. I held off reluctantly. I was like, I can't make it happen. Just bite the bullet and I'll get him after the bye. I've gone for those 3 options.
I like it. However, I'm just laughing at what you said about keeping Horsburgh just before in the trade outs, and but now I see that you're doing it yourself.
Well, I'm reversing it, so I'm not getting rid of him. I want to keep Hors this week, so that trade will get reversed. I'm going to work out a different way to go about things.
I'll give you a name.
At the moment, it doesn't sit well with me, to be honest, paying almost top dollar for Aaron Clark, but the numbers don't lie. Like, what he's doing is ridiculous. And I'm at the point where I was spewing I didn't do it last week. I just want to get in on that action. I just feel like he's super consistent at the moment. If anything, maybe the Fisher Harris addition will help his game as well. And I feel like they'll just be on a tear. Like, that'll be a forward pack you just don't want to verse.
Yeah. Love that pod pick. Love it. Yeah. If I could do it, I would. I love it. I think that's a really good trade. Aaron Clark is a stud, and he is being that at the moment. And I agree with you. The JFH addition is just going to free up some more space for him just to slot into. And I'm keen to watch that. Love those trades. Well done.
Thanks, brother. What about yours?
I'll give you someone that I think you should consider, because I'm starting to consider him, and that's Kale Iro.
Yes, I looked at him.
At $6.99. The dude's averaging 80. At the moment, my trades are I went let's do my changes. So I went Marju out. Got to trade Marju, 4-week injury. I then pushed Dylan Lucas, so I dueled Dylan Lucas down to the center wings, back to there, and I brought in Hosking, no brainer. And I've also made a bit of money out of that, which helped. And then I used that money to push Cleary down to the flex, put Hines up into halfback, and sitting right now with Drinkwater in my flex. I have left, it'll leave me 23 trades. I'm happy to use about 16 of them by round 20. And I'll have a very set up team. To be fair, I really like my team. My team is set up everywhere. I've got value everywhere. I've got players playing. I've got numbers through all of the buys. Even for 18, I've got them. So hence the reason why I said to you about before, my round 12 numbers are good. Pending a couple of people don't play Origin with a sneaky 18th man, hashtag Pappenhausen or Lucas. And if that's the case, I'm happy to have Drinkwater this week, which I'm not going to find this out till the end of the weekend anyways, but I'm happy to sit on Drinkwater, bring him in this week and not have him play next week, and then just play out and I don't have to worry about it. So if over the next couple of days I get some sort of whisper or there's a little bit of nous that something happens with some of these guys, I might change that. But I'm tossing up whether I go Drinkwater, whether I drop Drinkwater down to Teddy. I just don't like the Roosters' run and the draw. Like, I love their run. I don't like who they're playing. And I don't like that they're going to miss these guys. Roosters are already sort of in that sort of struggle street kind of position where, they're just doing it tough. Now you take out these 3 and 4 big names and good names. How much tougher is it for them against that draw? And then my last option it was my third option is, if it's not Drinkwater, it goes Teddy. If it's not Teddy, it's Tarpany. And I put away another 170K and use that in the future. So I'm trying to toss up which way I go there. Tarpany's a bring in to deal with the Haas and May potential origin.
That is definitely one to make sure we're part of the Legends group, because I can see already that Trav, he's going to be doing a few different things this week. So he's got his mind ticking over. You want to be checking that and making sure you know what is happening. What are the VC and C options for you this week?
I actually think this week's a big, interesting week for captains, mate.
I found it tough. I actually found it tough this week.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've got the VC on Ponga against the Eels. I just think that's a juicy run, and I think I'm not confident because I've hated watching Ponga other than 2 rounds this year. But I just think it's a bit juicy against the Eels at home, 6:00 Friday afternoon or Friday night. I think is just a nice play. And then I've got the C currently on Drinkwater, because you just that juju. You bring a dude in, put the VC or C on him. That's where I'm sitting at the moment.
I don't like where I'm sitting at the moment with this. I've gone the VC on Drinky, and I've gone the C on a massive bounce back for the Broncos themselves for Payne Haas. So bit of a boring play, which is why it doesn't really sit too well with me. But I just feel like he could do something on the week, especially just before Origin, and his team obviously coming off that disappointing loss they did last weekend. Again, their props are not under any of this criticism. They've been the 2 standouts all year, but I feel like they might just do that extra little bit, which is scary to think, leading from the front. So Payne Haas for mine. I can see him bordering on that 100 mark for that captaincy as well.
Yeah, I love it. Love the shout out. I'll give a couple other shout outs just as a thought. Terrell May against the Rabbitohs Sunday afternoon. That'll be fun to watch. And
Fletcher Sharp.
That's where I was about to go.
Oh, sorry.
So the VC Fletcher Sharp as well against the Eels. I am tempted to bring in Teddy as my second option, but not wanting any of that juju against the Bulldogs. So I am not going. I wouldn't even bother. I think I'm steering clear of Teddy. The other one, you've just got to think about it. After putting up 182 on the weekend, how has Pappy not been spoken about? We've just got to think about it. So there's an option there as well. However, it is a night game. It's a Saturday night. So
just looking at his like card thing on Supercoach at the moment, averaging 96.9. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, 182.
Oh, we love you, Pap. We love you, Pap. I love you so much.
But that's it, my man.
That's it. Sit v play, I guess, the last little bit we always go through. So just for me, just my reserves at the moment are sitting at Pappenhausen, Metcalf, Aaron Clark, and Dylan Lucas. What about yours?
I am sitting on Pappenhausen so that I can VC Ponga with Drinky in the flex. I've got Bradman Best. I've got Britton Nickera, and I've got Tino.
Ooh, not bad at all. That is it, guys. Thank you very much for being part of another great Supercoach episode. Hope we've helped you out. Obviously, yep. Shout out to Jesse. Did miss him once again. I feel like he's missed 2 in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So, Jesse, pump up, mate. We are ready for you to come back next week. We hope you got a lot out of it. Again, let us know in the comments your trades, things like that. Let us know any questions. Jump on in the Legends if you haven't already. Check it out. Look, give us a try for a week. Just see how you like it. There's no locking or anything like that. Chuck in the $2.99. Check it out for a week, cheaper than a price of a coffee. Don't like it, get out. It's all good. No offense taken, but just give us a try. If you're going to purchase any of the merch, hats, shirts, whatever it is, please message the page. Had a few reach out the last week or two, so that's starting to gain some traction without us even pushing it yet. So I am getting around to it. Just been under the pump a little bit, but we are getting there. But if you want to get ahead of the pack, get some of the stock that we already do have here on hand, please message the page. But good luck on the weekend. There's potential to be another really good scoring round for Supercoach, which is exciting. Plenty of moves to make, plenty of cool trades, see where people are at with their planning of Origin. And that I love this time of year for Supercoach purposes because it does change a few of the teams up. People have different strategies about how to approach this time of year, which is awesome. Thanks, Trav. Been a big week for the page, podcast, everything. We will be back, obviously, for the review show next Sunday, and we'll have an Origin special show looking likely to be Monday, but we'll confirm that throughout the weekend for sure for everyone. So thank you. Good night, good day, whatever it is when you're watching this. See you guys next week.